So yeah, we'll just start off with the most simple, basic things here. So your name, tell us a little bit about yourself, some of your history, education, family, if you like, those kinds of things.
Absolutely. My name's Clint O'Day. I live just north of the hospital. I've lived in town 16 and a half years. I've been working at Vermeer Corporation in Pella since I relocated to this area. I've got 3 children. 2 have completed the grades through the Oskaloosa School District, and my final one is now a senior at the high school. I've got 2 grandchildren currently enrolled in school, and one that's 3 years old, so it won't be long before she's coming up through the school district as well. I've spent 24 and a half years in purchasing related fields, purchasing and some management as well. It's given me a pretty good handle on budget related things and also managing people and products. So I've got a lot of good experience there. I'm actually a William Penn graduate. I got my degree when I was about 6 months shy of turning 40 years old. So I know what it's like to work full time, go to work, come home, do some schooling, try to get kids jockeyed back and forth to different sports. So yeah, William Penn graduate. I've got a business management degree. So yeah.
All right. So if you were elected, what would you see your role as a board member?
Absolutely. I think probably in general terms, a voice for the students, the parents, families, teachers, and administrators. You know, if I just was trying to summarize, what's my role? To be a voice.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So really, why do you want to serve? And is there maybe like a weakness or something that you saw on the board that you're like, man, I can help fill that gap?
Absolutely. I am wanting to serve because I've spent a lot of my later years in life trying to help others. I volunteer with different organizations, charitable foundations, getting others outside. So I kind of have a passion for helping others. And I think serving on a school board would be a good fit for me to where I can continue to do those things. There's many ways we can help out and try to make the world a better place. I feel that if I were involved in helping kind of set some guidelines and direct the children of our future, I think that'd be a great fit for me, and it would give me some satisfaction, as well as knowing that I did contribute positively and impacted several people and their families as well.
Mm-hmm. So what challenges do you see for the district going forward?
Oh, mercy. And since I haven't served yet, there's a lot of unknowns for me, right? Mm-hmm. I learn quickly, and I'm committed to learning. Some of the challenge that I see for the district, there's a pretty notable division right now. And I'm not saying that's going to go away quickly. It may not go away at all. But trying to bridge that gap to where we can be a little more unified, that's certainly going to be a goal of mine. I'm not saying I'm a miracle worker and I can pull that off, but unified people can do a lot of good things. Divided people, it gets really complicated then. So if I have my way, it's certainly going to be more collaboration, communication with people in the community. I've spent, well, today being the third day delivering signs. I go up and knock on the doors to talk to them before I stick a sign in their yard. And it helps me getting a little bit of feedback from them. I can kind of hear some of their positions and maybe frustrations, if that's what you want to call it. So one of the biggest opportunities that I've heard, and that come from 3 people before I come here today, was communication. Try to make it a little more easy for people to get information and be responsive to what they may email or call about. So mm-hmm. I don't know if I'd consider it a challenge, but it's certainly an opportunity that we might be able to improve on without a whole lot of effort. So,
okay. So what positives are you seeing from the district, and how would you like to build upon those?
Oh, I think there's a lot of positives. Even though I haven't been involved closely, school board related and some of those functions, I've still essentially put three kids through the school district. So I was very pleased the later years of my kids going through high school. Obviously, you know, when kids are in elementary and even middle school, you have a different set of challenges than you do with high school kids. So I want to fully educate myself on some of the bullying procedures or policies that we have. And I know things have changed a lot over the years, but that was one thing that we went through regularly with our kids. Actually, even my son, who's a senior this year, when he was in elementary school, we had those problems. And I was one of the parents that was not happy at all. So I made trips to school, and I've emailed as well. They were resolved. I mean, they were taken care of in a way, but had I not spoken out, I don't know where that might have gotten. I think bullying and harassing is always going to be an opportunity or a challenge for a school district. We can give the kids the right tools and the right environment, but everybody's an individual. So, you know, parents, there's a lot expected of parents. I mean, we have to raise the children right. And that never ends. I mean, I've got a 22-year-old daughter and a 20-year-old son, and I'm still parenting them, and I want to be parenting them to help them make the right decisions and maybe avoid some bad ones. So I think putting an emphasis onto parenting is also something that we need to kind of talk about from time to time. The school is there, we're there to educate, right? That's what the school is for. It doesn't replace parenting. So that's one thing, you know, I feel that some of the challenges have been brought about that maybe don't necessarily fit just the school board. So I'm a big accountability type of guy. I was raised that way. I've raised my children that way. The school board has their responsibilities. Parents have their responsibilities as well. The administrators and the teachers have theirs. I'll be one who looks for accountability as we move forward. So I think if we do that, and we're by having accountability, I think we're teaching people responsibility as well. You know, if my child does this, he's accountable. He's now responsible for that. So just some of my own thoughts anyway on how I was raised. I turned out to be a pretty decent person, so I know it's possible. And I wasn't always that way. It took some coaching along the way from my parents. So,
all right. Well, so we all know that a school district plays a major part in our communities. Oskaloosa gained just a few people from the last census, but Mascot County kind of suffered a little bit. School districts are important for those counties. So how would you see the district playing a role in making Mascot County better?
That's a tough question, Ken. Obviously, attendance and enrollment is very important for us. I think if we are providing a good place, a good education, an environmentally safe place for children to come and to learn, and we get focused on the education, what the school's actual purpose is for. I think if we focus on the education, we identify some distractions, because there are distractions in the school at this time. We need to be identifying those distractions and get redirected back on educating people. And I think if we can remove those and we give people the right tools, I'm not even saying college graduates. I'm a college graduate. Trade schools are as important as anything. I don't care if you're going on to college, if you're going right into a trade school, or if you're jumping right into the workforce. That person's education at Oskaloosa is just as important as the guy or the gal heading off to college. I want that to be equally as important. I don't want somebody to say college is more important than trade school and trade school is more important than jumping right out into the workforce. Everybody's unique in their own way. College wasn't for me right after high school. I joined the military, so I didn't have to go to college. So I went and did my time in the military, took a few classes. It was 16 years later, 15 years later, before I decide, you know what, I'm going to go work on my college degree. So to attract people, you know, sports, I think sports can kind of, I don't want to say misdirect people, but some people will move because of sports opportunities. That's a tough one to beat. I mean, we've got talent. We need to hone that talent. I don't know that we're going to draw a lot of people because of an athletic program. Maybe we do, more than I know of. But we need to make it an environment by unifying everybody, and that's going to draw people in. That's going to draw people to Oskaloosa, to the Oskaloosa Community School District. If we don't have the right environment, people are not going to choose the town. Therefore, they're not going to choose the school district that we are serving. So making it attractive. We've got good things going on in the city, a lot of improvements the last few years to help draw people in here. And I think that's going to have an impact. But when you see disarray or people splitting and trying to drive wedges in between parents and administrators and teachers, that's not going to bode well for the school district at all. People will just pack up and leave and go to another school where they might feel that their opinion matters more. If we get including parents in some of these conversations and we improve that communication, I think it's going to be positive chatter then, and people pick up on that. So,
all right. So, what role do you believe the school system plays in a child and family's everyday life?
It's certainly not going to replace parenting in the home, but aside from that, it's critical, right? If we don't start building that foundation right, when you're done, you end up with a home that may not fit your needs. And children can be the same way. If we build a solid foundation on the right principles, we can help set that child's future, right? Mm-hmm. Obviously, parenting is a big thing, and you'll hear me talk about that many times, and anybody who talks to me on the school board will hear that many times. There's a difference between what goes on at home and what goes on at school. There's a certain point where they need to come together in the middle, but the education is something that they're not getting at home, right? So we should be focused on giving them the tools necessary to become a successful, a responsible, an accountable person. So when they walk away from here, it's been a positive impact for them. Their mind is set to where I can do this. I can go out and achieve things. That's pretty important to me. And that starts in preschool. You know, first and second grade, instrumental in helping set a child's learning abilities. Mm-hmm. So those younger years are very important to give them what they need, whether it's curriculum, whether it's guidance. You know, as they get older, they're going to start forming their own opinions and they're going to start becoming themselves. But if we set that foundation early, we can help put them on the right course.
Well, we've kind of touched on some of this, but maybe I'd like to have it a little more compact and succinct for this question.
Okay.
If I can speak. So, how would you impact the culture of the district? Does the district have an image problem? And if they do, how would you address that?
Okay. So go back to the first part, Ken.
Yep. How would you impact the culture of the district?
Okay.
And does the district have an image problem? And if so, if you believe so, how would you address that? And this is the second to last question, so you can see the finish line coming. So.
I wasn't even worried about it. So relative to the first part of impacting the culture of the district, you know, I bring a very solid work ethic and the accountability aspect. I feel like I make a lot of good decisions. We're all human. Sometimes we make poor decisions that we're responsible for. But as far as impacting the culture of the district, I feel that I can go out and meet with many people of a variety of different backgrounds and have a meaningful conversation with any of them. My time in the military, time with some of the manufacturing places I've worked for, and the positions I've held, I've been able to communicate on several different levels, from management to different regions, even dealing with communications and the differences in overseas processes and whatnot. So I think that those experiences will give me a pretty good start on being able to go out and talk with people in the public. And I am one who will be very open to people coming to me to talk and hear their problems or challenges or different opportunities. So maybe if all things go well, that'll have a positive impact in the district. But I think decision making is going to be something that it comes pretty natural to me. I tend to be able to help solve problems, so I think having the ability to do that and work through those discussions through collaboration. I'm used to putting things on a board, and we'll all write down different ideas, and then we'll start marking them off to see how we can implement this into this step or this process or guideline. So I like to visit with people. I like talking. I don't know for sure how I will impact the culture of the district, other than I can say I feel very confident that it will be a positive impact. The unity is a big thing for me. The last few years, just in general, we have seen some division. And there's things taking place that are helping to drive that wedge to divide people into smaller groups even. So I feel like we're kind of fragmented. Oskaloosa, I don't feel that near as bad as I do as a nation, because I'm not out all the time. I don't know of all the problems and the opportunities, but from what I've gathered in the last 5 weeks now in talking with people, there's nothing that's been done that can't be healed, I guess, if you will. So trying to bring people together is how we will definitely positively impact the culture of the district. And I don't have the answer on exactly how we're going to do that, because there's a lot of topics and issues that I'm not even aware of yet. However, I think, in a brief time serving on the school board, I think I'll be much better educated on those matters, and then we'll just do what we can to work to solve those. Not everything is a school board matter, though. That's one thing that I've noticed. There are some things the school board's not allowed to do, or that they don't have any say in or judgment or decisions on. So I think this current school board has been faced with some challenges that they don't necessarily have jurisdiction of, if you will, for lack of a better term. We still have state and federal guidelines and policies and regulations that we have to follow as a school. So I think if we do what is in our power and we do what's best, that'll have a positive impact as well.
All right. Well, this is the point in our conversation where I'm out of questions. So if there's something, and it never fails, that we didn't talk about, but you were excited and you wanted to talk about, this is your opportunity to talk about
right.
this.
So I'll give you a break so you can cut video.
No, you can just roll right into it.
So one of the prior questions that really got my attention, there's actually two that I was pretty extensive on in my thoughts, but one was, what plans or ideas do you bring to help the Oskaloosa schools continue to improve and grow in the next 4 years if you are elected and put on the school board? Mm-hmm. So my answer to that is, I'm not coming with a portfolio of plans or requested changes, because I need to make sure that I fully understand the challenges, the goals, and the expectations. If you don't know the current state, it would be unjust to roll in with preconceived expectations. So I feel that with having 24 years of purchasing and with management experience, I will be an asset to the school board, to the school district, to the community. I have an abundance of experience managing budgets, making large purchases, and scrutinizing the use of funds. And I think on the school board, at some point in time, that might come in handy. Reviewing and writing policies or procedures is also an area that I have many years experience in. One opportunity, and I don't know if this goes in or not, but I'm curious to know more about the vetting of the curriculum that we use in the school district. I don't know the process. It's more of a question in my mind, and it's something that's piqued my interest in the last few days, is how do we vet what books, what materials, what programs we're sending across the computers or across the desk of the children? And I'm not saying any of it's wrong right now. I want to get very involved in that and learn more about how do we make sure we're giving them what we want them to see and learn, because that's pretty important. If we let little pieces of certain things come in, even if it's a piece by piece by piece at a time, over time we've given them a basket full of pieces that may not be productive or good for them to have that information in their brain. So it's an opportunity for me to learn. So I'm kind of making my commitment to get involved, to know how we approve or we review the books, the curriculum that we're going to be giving to the first graders or the eighth graders or the seniors. So kind of a passion of mine to get more involved in that, Ken.
Okay.
So let me see here. And this is one that's come about, and you kind of touched on it, the communication. But I will say, when I've been out meeting people in the community since Monday, communication has come up a few times. So it's something that I've put some serious thought into here. I'm not perfect by any means, but I do tend to listen well. And sometimes I give answers a little off the cuff, but when I have time, when I know it, and I tell myself, step back, analyze this, and then provide the answer, I do pretty good at that. But so I don't have all the answers for how we're going to make communication better. And one thing, I just left a guy's house, had given him a sign and spoke with him for a little while, and where he has his children enrolled, they get a weekly newsletter, if you will. Current events, whether it be COVID or just general health updates or different health concerns, those are passed along to there, as well as menus and schedules of events and things like that. And they get that every week. And I don't know that Oskaloosa is doing that. Maybe they are. If they are, I'm not on the email list, so I have nobody to blame but myself. But the school board members being available for them, we all work, right? We all have jobs that take a lot of our time every week. We have families, we have hobbies, things we love to do as well. But responding to emails is pretty important. Somebody's reaching out to you because a matter is important to them. I think as an elected official, we need to have that courtesy of, at a minimum, acknowledging the email. I'm not saying one person on the school board can't necessarily change a policy or anything. We have to vote on that. But I think acknowledging that email and saying, I will get back with you, is probably going to go a very long ways with the people of Oskaloosa or the school district here. So that's one thing I will set out to do. I get 60 or 70 emails a day at work, and I try to answer every one of those as well. So we don't have to have the answer right away, right? It's something that we can talk about as a school board or as a district. So I think it's important to respond, to acknowledge it anyway, and keep that in mind. It may not seem as important to me, but if you emailed me, it's an important matter to you. Now, we can't solve every problem. We can address them, we can do our best, we can make the best decisions to try to drive that if it's a common problem. So that's one thing that I hope to be able to do, Ken.
All right. Well, we certainly appreciate your time to come here and answer questions and put yourself out there whenever you you do things like this, it takes a bit of courage to step forward. So we greatly appreciate that you've been doing that. And so Clint O'Day, and you are running for
District 2, and I'm running as a write-in. So you have to physically write my name down on the ballot on November 2nd, or if you're doing it ahead of time, you can do that. But yes, District 2 for the Oskaloosa Community School District as a write-in.
All right, and so just so everybody knows, how do we spell your name so that they can fill it out on the ballot?
That's a great point. So my first name is rather easy. It's just C-L-I-N-T. The last name is where it gets a little complicated with a little bit of Irish heritage in me. So it's a capital O, an apostrophe, a capital D, and then a small a and a small y.
All right. Once again, Clint O'Day, and you are running for District 2 as a write-in. Thanks for coming and joining us
You
today.
bet. Thanks, Ken.